Hello friends, I am Shravana and welcome to my channel Sparkling Future. Today we will discuss how to deploy a Spark application in real time. Before starting with today's topic, I request all of you to subscribe to my channel. Also please like, comment, share and click on the bell icon for the latest notifications. So actually this is part 1. Today we will see how to deploy the application in the cluster using a shell script. Actually I haven't set up the cluster in my local machine, hence I can't show you the real-time execution, but I will explain the procedure in this video. Actually some of our friends requested for these steps and I don't want to delay it until I wait for I get some time to set up the original cluster in the system. So that's why I'm making this video, so that at least you will be knowing the steps about how to do submit the Spark application in the shell script. So let's see the steps, then later on you can come back with any questions that you have. I will always answer you, and also surely if you give me some time I'll set up the cluster and I'll help you showing the entire real-time deployment of a Spark application. So coming back to this Spark submit command, this is how this is the command we usually use for submitting the Spark application in the cluster. So first let's see the meaning of each and every parameter, then I will show how to submit this in the cluster. But for submitting as a shell script, please give me some time, okay? So in the Spark submit, we have spark hyphen submit, that is the command that we have to use, and then name is the name of the Spark job you wanted to see in the cluster, because in the Spark UI there will be hundreds of jobs running. This name is the identifier to identify your job, okay? So that name you will be giving, and also whatever name you will be setting in the job, right, that will be overwritten by whatever name you pass in the Spark submit command. And the class name is the main class of your application. Like when you are writing the Spark code, you will always create a object, right, Spark object, right? So that class name you have to mention it here. And next one is master. So it takes it provides 3 options. The first one is the Spark standalone mode. You have to give Spark UI whatever local host link here if you wanted to run your application in standalone mode. Or if you have Apache Mesos or Yarn or any Kubernetes or any other cluster manager, then you have to provide that word here, like hyphen master. Here I am giving a Yarn because we use Hadoop. In my local machine I have set up that one, so hyphen master Yarn you have to use. And for running for locally, you have to mention local. The difference between these two is, here Yarn means because it's a cluster manager and the distributed architecture will be available. Whatever job you are going to submit, right, that will like parallelism will be used when you use this Yarn, whereas in the local only it will be run in the locally. But in local machine, how much memory is available, in that memory the job will be shared and executed, okay? And next one is this deploy mode, cluster and client. There are again 2 options for this hyphen deploy hyphen mode option parameter. So cluster mode is where usually in the production that we use, and like it will have a proper cluster setup for executing the jobs, and for running it in the like locally or whenever any development or testing or debugging applications, we usually use client mode. That's where usually in the local machine it will be running, and client mode is the default mode for deploy mode. So if you wanted to run your job in the cluster mode, you have to mention hyphen deploy mode as cluster, okay? And the next one is conf. This conf parameter, it takes any of the settings you wanted to explicitly mention for the job. Here for the sample I have mentioned as Spark driver memory, but actually you can always pass anything, like maybe for Kafka you need how many messages per run you wanted to have, or any kind of, there are so many other settings, right? All the settings about broadcast map, or there are so many settings, whatever it is you can send it through this conf parameter. So it takes like a key value pair separated by equal to, this is the key and this is the value. And next one is jars. So here you can pass any dependent jars, like for example Cassandra connector or any other. If you have any other jars, for example your utilities will be in some other jar. Let's say you have another project like one kind of code where you have all the common utilities to be mentioned, common constants or whatever you have, right? You will mention in that jar, and that jar you wanted to utilize for all the maybe other 5 jobs. So for such cases you can use that utility, you can pass that utility jar in this jars property, okay, for this option, comma separated. Then files, let's say you have some files like config.property or any Kafka properties or any like if you don't wanted to hard code anything, you can put it as a global variable, you can declare them as a global and you can have them in any of the property files. In such case you can pass all those things under files. So all these actually whatever you pass here, all this should be handled in the code, like you should have already have the code to read all these things, okay, files whatever you mention here. And then finally this is the jar. This you can see that, right? Jar for the application jar means for whichever code you are running, right? That application jar, no need to mention hyphen jars, okay? Only for the dependencies you have to mention it in this jars. Hyphen jars is there, right? Here for the application jar you directly mention that as a jar. And also if at all you have any other input parameters, let's say you are sending a file as input parameter, you will mention that file path here. Or if you are mentioning some threshold, let's say 100, 120 or something, then you will pass that. Or any other parameter, if you are searching for a string, if it is equal to that maybe let's say apple, you perform this task. So any for such kind of input you can pass it here, okay, one by one you can pass it by giving the spaces, how number of parameters will be given as per the spaces. So this is the typical Spark submit command that will be used for submitting the Spark applications. So then the I mean along with that, here anyway we have this spark.driver.memory 6G I mentioned, right? So another way of mentioning is there are direct parameters like hyphen executor memory, hyphen driver memory, hyphen num executors, etc. also we can mention, okay? All these memory parameters also can be sent along like this to the Spark submit command. And whatever you will mention it here, in the sense in the Spark submit command will be override, okay? I mean, in the sense these only will consider, even though if you have mentioned any memory or any of the name or any of the settings in the code, right, first it will consider whatever you are sending in the Spark submit only, okay? And so now before going to the shell script, now let's run a sample, okay? I have some half I can show you in this. So I have created a simple file just to read a CSV, and then I'm just showing that. And I have created a jar out of it. I have Maven dependency, I have created the POM for that. This is a file, CSV file that I'm reading, and I've created a POM with all the required Scala and Spark SQL, all the dependencies. This I have downloaded from the Maven repository, okay? You just search like Spark core Scala Maven repository in Google, you will get it. It will take you to the Maven repository page. Select the version and download it, and it will give you in the same format. You just copy paste here inside the dependencies tab. All the dependencies should be inside this dependencies tag. Now coming back to the code, this is some simple code, because anyway we are not concentrating on the code in this video. I don't want to go through that one. So this is the data frame for this student data.csv, and I'm just showing. So I just created the jar for this Maven build. It will create a jar. You can see, right, build is success. So now usually the jar file will be generated under this target folder. You can see here, right, target folder, the jar is created. So now I'm I'm opening a command prompt. Because it's local machine, I'm going to the command prompt. Usually in the production environment we will have a cluster like SAT cluster, UAT cluster. I mean, usually we will have development cluster. Maybe for development we have development cluster, and for testing in another instance we can use SAT cluster as well. Let me go to that folder. Okay, so now the same spark submit command I am taking here. Spark submit, I am mentioning what is the class, and this is the master as local because I am running it locally, and I am passing this jar file. And because I don't have proper setup yet, you will see some exceptions, but still you can ignore that because those are related to Hadoop binary libraries and all. So please ignore that, and you can see the output here because we are using df.show in the code, right? You can see, so it will show you the code. We can see that in that this is the output. So this way we can submit this using this spark submit and passing this jar. You can see that the output is getting printed here. So now what will happen in the real time is the same spark submit command, we'll put it in a shell script. So this is a bash, so I'm using bash. If you have ksh in your cluster, you have to use bin and /ksh, and this base directory is the Unix I mean the shell script itself will read from wherever you wanted to run the job, right? So that will be considered as base directory. And these are some assigning. Instead of we don't usually hard code the variables in the spark submit command. So in the job name I'm sending something. You can send whatever file like name you wanted to see. This is the name you will see in the Spark UI. And the class name also, instead of directly passing, this is the if at all any change in the class name, then no need to change the spark submit, right? So this is the way we will first assign the values into the variables. Then this is the class name. Then utility jar is, I mean, just for example I'm mentioning, okay, as I told earlier, if we have a common utility to be used by all the other jobs, then we will, instead of writing the same code multiple times, we will create a common jar and we will use that, and we will pass it under jars. Then this is the application jar, so base directory, and then this one. And for example, usually in the this one, right, it will be under target, and if you are for example any other jar, and I mean any other file like config files or something, usually will be kept under resources folder in the Eclipse, or I mean the folder structure I am talking about, like under src main you will see all the Scala files, right? Similarly under resources folder you will have these kind of any property files, and even in the shell script also will be moved to the resources folder. When you are pushing the repository, you have to push this entire code base to the repository, like it can be JIT, SVN, Bitbucket, VSN, or anything, whatever repository you use, it will contain a proper folder structure, right? So in that under resources folder we will push this spark submit.sh. You can give any name to this. Okay, that .sh is the shell script, because of that is the extension. Then I'm just printing like submitting the Spark job, and in the Spark submit hyphen name, and I am passing this job name, so it will take this value. And similarly class, and similarly conf also we can, instead of hard coding this, we can have this in a variable and you can pass that. And similarly dependency jars, and master local. So here I am running because it's my local machine, it's local. Usually in production it will be like yarn. And deploy mode, anyway it's a client, by default it will take, so I am not mentioning that. And in the files we can mention in the base directory config.properties, or any file, okay, any file whatever you have, or you can just mention base directory /resources/ or just the dot also you can mention. And finally pass the app jar. This is the application jar. And if you have any input parameters, you can mention these input parameters here. Okay, and then finally we say Spark job submitted successfully, to print this message, successful message after submitting the Spark jar. So this we will do, and I'll just explain the steps, okay, how we can do. So in the cluster we will have FTP file, like some tool, WinFTP or something like that, or any FTP or TechD or anything. So from your local machine, log into that one, and from your local machine, like let's say inside your C drive or E drive, you will have this Spark job one, right, whatever details. From there move the files, jar file or all the required file, and this along with this Spark submit at shell script, you move that to the cluster path, and make sure that you provide all the 755 permission to all these files, chmod 755, and the file name you can mention. And then log into the cluster through putty or any other tool, that whatever tool you are having. After logging in, go to this directory to wherever you have moved all these files, right? From there do ls minus ltr, and it should show you all the files that we just pushed through FTP tool. And then here just to do dot slash spark submit dot sh, and I'll just show you in the command prompt how it will look like. It will be in this similar screen. So you just have to give like this, okay, and press enter. It will submit the Spark job. And let's say if you have any input parameters which you have already defined in the Spark submit, then you have to send it through, right, through this script, right? So you can just mention as input 1, input 2. Similarly you can mention, and when you submit, you will see similar kind of logs will be printing, okay, because we are not capturing any logs, or we are not what to say, moving that to transferring that logs to any other logs folder. Similarly, how here whatever is there, right, similar logs you can see once you click on when you press the enter. And if you don't want to see that in the screen, and if you wanted to move that entire logs to some log folder, you can use nohub command. Nohub, I will just put like this, okay, nohub, then dot slash spark submit dot sh, then inputs, and we have to have some logs, okay. Either you have some folder for logs, you can have it, and if you don't have that logs folder also, you can directly just say that log1.log, and these are the Unix commands for writing into a file called logs. It's like what to say, diverting this entire logs. Instead of printing, you have to move it to the log folder, okay. So this is the format for that, okay, nohub command. So then press enter. This is the nohub command, then press enter. At the end, this is actually not dollar, sorry, this is the ampersand is very important when you use the nohub command. And when you press enter, it will just give you the application ID, and if you wanted to see the logs, you have to go to this log1.log in this particular directory. And after submitting, it will give you the ID, right, with that is the application ID. Using that, you can query your submitted program in the Spark UI. Okay, hope these steps are clear, friends. If you have any query, please provide your comments in the comment section. I will surely help you. But I can assure you that I will surely come up with a video which will have all these steps real time, okay. And thank you for watching the video, friends. Please subscribe to my channel for more interesting learnings. Thank you.